Name of subject, internal combustion engines. Name of chapter, SI engines fuel supply system, ignition system, combustion. Name of topic, requirements and working of ignition advance mechanism. Contents, requirements and working of ignition advance mechanisms. So, dear friends, in the last few videos, we already discussed about the ignition systems, which is the battery ignition system and the magneto ignition system. These two are the basic types of ignition systems which we are using in the different automobiles. So, along with the ignition system, we also discussed about the use of spark plug, then the use of ignition coil, then the use of the contact breaker, etc. etc. So here we are going to discuss another very important aspect in the mechanism of SI engine, and that is nothing but the requirement of ignition advance mechanism. So basically this particular ignition advance mechanism is very much useful in the case of two-wheelers engine, where carburetor is one of the important device to supply the air and fuel mixture. Sometimes this particular ignition advance mechanism is again useful in the case of four-wheelers engine itself. Specifically for the SI engine, this ignition advance mechanism is very much useful. So we are going to understand first why there is a use or the requirement of such kind of a mechanism. So ignition advance is required because the air fuel mixture does not burn instantly. So we know in the case of IC engine, suction, compression, expansion and exhaust, these are the four processes, and during suction the amount of air and fuel mixture comes inside the engine cylinder, and at the end of the compression stroke the spark plug provides the spark and ignition taken place and burning will start to take place. Means burning of air and fuel mixture start to take place inside the engine cylinder, but sometimes does not burn instantly. That particular air and fuel mixture does not burn instantly, and because of that the ignition advance mechanism is required. Similarly, sometimes it takes the more time for the flame to ignite all the mixture. However, if the timing is advanced too far, it will cause an engine block. Okay, so as per the requirement of the engine, sometimes the air fuel mixture will burn because the spark plug produces the spark at the exact time. But sometimes it does not happen, or sometimes there should be a requirement to burn that air fuel mixture before the time, or what we can say, there should be some advancement in the time of that particular spark should ignite from the spark plug, or the spark plug should coming from the spark plug itself. So there will be some reason behind this. So what are those reasons? The basic reason of the spark advancement requirement is what? The engine speed. Suppose if we want to increase the RPM of the engine, and sometime there will be a variation in the load that will determine how much total advancement is required. When the normal running condition, when the idling condition is there, so normal load is there, normal speed is there, that time there is no need of the advancement in the ignitions. But when we want to increase the speed of the engine, when there will be some variation on the load on the engine, so that time the normal spark plug is not able to supply that exact ignition at that particular time. So there should be always some advancement is required. That is nothing but called the ignition advance mechanism. So this is nothing but the requirement of ignition advance mechanism. So similarly, next when we talk about this ignition advance, which is the condition when ignition of fuel occurs earlier than the correct ignition time. So as I said earlier, so sometimes there is a need of the engine to burn the air fuel mixture before the correct ignition timing of the spark plug. So with the help of this ignition advance, we can ignite the air fuel mixture before the correct ignition timing. So ignition of mixture take place near the end of compression stroke, as we know. So if the ignition is advanced, it means that the air fuel mixture will burn too early before the end of compression stroke. So this is the basic meaning of ignition advance mechanisms. Means with the help of this mechanism, the spark plug can able to make or provide the spark before the correct ignition timing. So that is the use of ignition advance mechanism. So that is the called ignition advance mechanism. So this is about the ignition advance mechanism diagram. So again here we have the engine along with the number of cylinder, and these are the 4 spark plug for the 4 cylinders which are present in this particular engine. So again these 4 spark plugs are connected along with one mechanism where the distributor is there. In the earlier videos, as we discuss about the different ignition systems, and in that we also discuss about the distributor. So such kind of a distributor which is present over here. So this is the assembly of the distributor. Now if you see in this diagram, here we can see the detail inside this particular spark plug distribution system or the spark distributor system. So this is about that particular distributor rotor in this case. Okay, so the rotor rotates, and as the rotor rotates, it will provide the required amount of current voltage to the required spark plug, and the ignition taken place inside the engine cylinder as the spark provided by the spark. So along with this, what we can say, this distributor devices, one more additional device is there, and that is called ignition control module. So what is the main role of this particular ignition control module? So as I just said, as the load increases, load varies, or sometimes we want to increase the speed, in that cases there should be some advancement in the timing of ignition, or the timing of, we have to make the spark from the spark plug too early, or we can say there should be some advancement in the timing of spark plug provide the spark, and that should be possible with the help of this ignition control module. So as the ignition control module works, it senses the requirement of the engine and it rotates this particular rotor of the distributor according to the requirement, and because of the rotor rotation, this can distribute the amount of voltage to the required spark plug before the correct timing of the ignition, we can say. So there is always ignition in the mechanism. With the help of this particular ignition advance mechanism, we can generate the spark before the time or before the correct timing of the ignition. So this is nothing but called as the ignition advance mechanism. So hope you understood the things about the requirement and why there is a use of ignition advancement mechanism. So thank you so much for watching the session. Thanks a lot.